When I was little, my mother often read me bedtime stories. Back then, I thought the world was just like in those stories, and everyone led peaceful, happy lives. It was only later that I realized the difficulties and struggles many people face in society. All I can do is try my best and stay loyal to the people I care about. Now that I think about it, even though the stories are fictional, they can still help children get a good night's sleep. To me, that's enough. How are you feeling? Try not to worry too much about the next fight. I've heard people say that having a good attitude actually benefits your health. Even if spearmanship isn't my strong suit, I'll do my best to protect you in this battle.
You call crushing ants a challenge? The novelty of these little scuffles quickly wore off for me. Now it's just tedious. It amazes me that some people enjoy it so much. Keep up if you want my help. I don't want to be stuck here all day. You need a break already? Your travels sure have made you soft. Can't we just go and get this over with? We're not fighting a trained army here. We'll run circles around those morons. All right, suit yourself. Just don't keep me waiting too long. No, I don't want to chat. What are you making that face for? I thought you knew my deal by now. Fine, you can talk, and I'll sit over there and listen. Happy now?
You youngsters need to make sure you're getting enough exercise. You don't want to be huffing and puffing while your elders are still going strong. Why, this is a walk in the park compared to the field studies that Haravatat used to send us out on. Never mind. No point in dredging up the past. Go on, then. I suppose you ought to rest if you really are tired. I've seen too many junior scholars ruin their health for the sake of their academic pursuits. Let that be a cautionary tale. Those who fail to heed the advice of their elders do so at their own peril. I know that many of the younger generation see me as a sort of legendary figure. Why, my stories and my accomplishments can even be found in Kosharawar textbooks. But it does seem that people aren't quite used to having a legend living among them. No one takes my courses or pays attention to my research. Even securing research funding can be a struggle. If I were lucky enough to have one of my predecessors here in the flesh, I'd be waiting on her hand and foot, serving her tea, massaging her shoulders, asking her all sorts of questions. What happened to this generation? Where is their inquisitiveness? Where is their respect?
I do hope I'll get to read a story about a rebellious princess. You know, the type who sheds her long, cumbersome skirts and learns equestrianism, swordplay, perhaps even medicine. She'll live freely, take to the field to defeat evil personally, and defend the people and nation by her own hand. You know what? I might just write that story myself. Don't be too weirded out if you see me with my mask off while we rest. I'm just getting some fresh air. This place is way too idle. It gets to you after a while. Gotta take some deep breaths. Not that I'm rushing you, of course. I'll wait until you've made your preparations in full. You can leave the trickier opponents to me. You did invite me here after all, so I'll do my part for the cause, no problem. As for what part that'll be exactly, arrange that however you wish. I can handle it.
I rarely encounter opportunities to rest mid-journey. During battle, slowing down is even more out of the question. However, given that this is not a solo operation, I will go along with what you think is best. In any case, this is an acceptable place for a brief period of respite. People often believe me to be highly focused on securing victories. I am a champion duelist, after all. The truth, however, is just the opposite. It is the spirit of the challenger that I value above all else. If someone is willing to face me head-on, they have my respect, no matter who secures the title of victor in the end. Strength is something that can be gained through experience. Courage, however, comes from within. I think I'll read a little before the next battle begins. Please refrain from recommending something like a newspaper. I recognize that short-form articles may be a fitting choice, considering the limited amount of time at our disposal, but they're simply not to my taste.
Will you join me in a game of Karuta? It is a fine way to spend leisure time. It will help us both relax, while keeping me sharp and focused. The only thing is, it is customary for the winner to be awarded with confectionery, but I do not know whether it can be brought in here. In that case, we can celebrate the victor at the Sacred Sakura some other time. Now, are you ready to be humbled?
You intend to take a rest? I concur. You do look quite tired. Self-knowledge is a good trait to have. Better to walk at a slower pace if it means you will travel further in the end. I brought some coffee candies. Here, take one. The enemies we face are of a lowly breed. Deal with them however you see fit. But do not get complacent. You should expect to fend for yourself, as I am not in the habit of coming to other people's rescue. If you do encounter a foe for whom you are no match, simply make yourself scarce, and I shall deal with it in due course. Before I go on a long journey, I tend to leave the children of the House of the Hearth with some homework to complete in my absence. Many of them, however, simply play to their heart's content for most of the time I am gone, then rush to get their homework done in the final few days before my return. They believe I am none the wiser, but I have simply elected not to expose their chicanery. After all, to complete one's work in a short time frame is a skill in its own right.
I know all these books are meant for children, but some of these stories are actually quite good. Here, for example, this one's the story of two parrots that sue each other. Each accuses the other of stealing a poem that they both claim to have written that morning. But since they only know how to imitate speech, the judge has no way of knowing who actually wrote the poem first. Such a fun story. Any chance I can borrow it?
There doesn't appear to be a dedicated infirmary here. Oh, well, you'll just have to rest here. Now, just relax. Oh, no serious wounds. Oh, wonderful. Well, you've been taking excellent care of yourself. Keep up the good work. Since you're all clear, all you need to do is replenish your energy levels. Oh, I brought some nutritious shakes. Here, take one. Oh, being in this domain is just as exciting as watching a pancration match. And who's been a brave, heroic champion? That's right, you have. Well, anyway, do you mind if I come with you next time? Not that I doubt your fighting ability, of course. It's just, it's so much more dangerous in there than I ever imagined.
Rest time, you say? Then let's give our vocal cords a rest. Grab some coffee, and spend some time thinking about the things you're usually too busy for.
The novels here actually aren't all that bad. But a little fried tofu and a few drinks would make things better still. So, little one, do you think you could pull a few strings and get your hands on some for me? Without them, I don't think I'll be able to muster the energy to help you explore this domain. Oh, the look on your face, so dumbfounded. I'm joking, can't you tell? Do you really believe the great Lady Guji herself would be so fickle? Dear me, is it time to go off and fight again already? All this running around is getting quite exasperating. I have half a mind to transform into a kitsune and hitch a ride on your shoulder. You'd like that, wouldn't you? In your dreams. Oh, little one, you've still got a long way before Yae Miko the Wise and Beautiful permits you to see her true form.
Hey, cutie. Heading back in? You know, the further in we go, the tougher the monsters are going to get. But you've got nothing to worry about. I know every monster's weak spot like the back of my hand. I've read everything there is to know on the topic. So if you need someone to teach them a lesson, just let me know. It's a rare treat to have a little time to laze around and not have to think about all the fighting and killing. Still, even lazing around isn't much fun on your own. Do you want to keep me company for a bit, cutie? I can read you a story if you'd like.
The legacy of the Yakshas lives on in the historical records that tell our tales. Still, that brings no solace to me or my late comrades. But watching the Shao lanterns rise into the sky during the lantern rite, that is what brings me peace. Fighting monsters is nothing new to me. If anything, it is these brief periods of leisure between battles that I'm not accustomed to. No matter. If you need to rest, I will stay here with you until you are ready.
The scoundrels who slink around in here are fools, all of them. To posture menacingly before mortals is one thing, but to persist even after witnessing one's adeptus arts? It is sheer illiteracy in the face of manifestly legible writing on the wall. These dullards would be no match, even for one's 2 disciples, let alone oneself. When storytellers tell tales pertaining to oneself, they often resort to slapdash stitchwork derived from decrepit documents, garnished with a glut of aggrandizement. Entertaining, to be sure, but do not believe everything you hear. Of course, if you wish to hear the truth, you need only ask me. In fact, one is suddenly reminded of an old tale. It begins with a gathering of the Adepti at Dreyun Karst.
When danger rose, they overcame their foes, onward forging to the journey's end. My dear courageous traveler, if you will allow this humble bard to join you on your journey, it would be my honor to compose an epic poem to remember your deeds. I'm willing to bet a whole glass of apple cider that your story will be one for the ages.
How big do the monsters here get? Maybe even bigger than the highest tree in the Whispering Woods? Anyway, there's no need to worry. I made an even bigger bomb! Da-da-da! Clee to the rescue! Clearing the way for Mr. Honorary Knight!
I had a phase once where I did exactly what you're doing now. Constantly exploring dangerous domains and confronting powerful enemies. But what drove me to do it wasn't any of the rules from the Knights of Favonius Handbook. It was my personal convictions. Conviction helps you rise above your wounds and fatigue, and guides you forward into the light of dawn. Sometimes a throwaway comment in a conversation outside of the battle can be the decisive factor in who wins and who loses. So even in the downtime between battles, I intend to stay alert and ready. Leave the intelligence gathering to me. You should rest.
You look troubled. Are you worried about the enemies we will soon face? Ah, I see. Sorry, I should have noticed sooner. You asked me to join your team. It is only right that I share this burden with you. The Dandelion Knight's sword is at your command. Let us proceed. I wonder if that novel I read once is available to borrow here. Not that I was especially fond of it. I just didn't finish reading it, so I've always wondered what happens after where I left off. I really hope it has a happy ending. I am considering whether to fetch my outstanding paperwork so that I can look through it during our downtime. Overkill? Maybe you're right. In that case, I'll brew some coffee. I'll make one for you too.
Once I was old enough, I started reading popular novels. Some of them would end by having the dead come back to life and living happily ever after. I know it's only make-believe, but still, it always ruined the story for me. If death isn't final, there are no stakes. So it kind of makes everything that happened up to that point meaningless. To everything, there is a season. A time to be born, a time to die. That is the truth. You can't have a satisfactory ending if death isn't final. The look on your face tells me you're ready to head deeper into the domain. Next stop, the belly of the beast, huh? Never fear, for Director Hu Tao is here, ready to face whatever comes at us, from the ordinary to the abnormal to the paranormal. So, without further ado, shall we? Let's not keep the monsters waiting. We're not in any hurry to get going, are we? Let's chill here for a bit. When the cat's away, the mice will play. And so they should, 'cause it's only a matter of time before the cat gets back and gobbles all the mice up. So like I said, no need to hurry. The mice will be there for us when we're ready.
During my days as a wanderer, if I came upon a beautiful view and was feeling in a poetic mood, I'd stop to compose a few lines. I once thought about writing an anthology of my poems and leaving it on a shelf so I could share with others the way I felt when my eyes first met those wonderful sights. But when I looked back at the drivel I'd written, I gave up on the idea. I'm sure other travelers will get that same sense of peace from the natural world as I did, if it's meant to be. There are many reasons why a samurai might draw their blade, but the principle is always the same. To do what they know in their heart is right. Though we walk a perilous path where powerful foes face us at every turn, and though I cannot sense what lies at its end, I tread onwards with no fear in my heart. My mind is at ease, for I tread this path in your company.
After taking a look around here, I'm wondering whether to expand our library at the Fortress of Merpede. Then again, most of our collection consists of legal advice pamphlets and mechanics textbooks, which no one reads. So maybe not. Novels? Well, you're right, those would be more popular. And that's also why you can never find them in our library. They disappear from the shelves instantly, never to be seen again. There are worse ways to kill time than fairy tales. The simple wording, the childlike wonder, the romanticism. It all makes for some nice, easy reading that doesn't require any brain power. Well, until you start noticing some of the more uncomfortable parallels between fantasy and reality.
I used to believe that once I'd made up my mind to do something, I should act immediately and complete the work in the shortest time frame possible. But I found that my assistants rarely lasted more than 3 months on the job, and the constant turnover took a toll on our operational efficiency. Eventually, of course, I came to realize that getting adequate rest actually improves productivity in the long term. If we wish to forge a new future, we cannot expect to stick to the same path trod by our forebears. And yet, many of the principles put forth in ancient writings are versatile in their application, so it is wise to be versed in the past as we consider the future. These days, I tend to take a look at any relevant historical records whenever I have an important decision to make. I always find it helps me come up with some good ideas.
If you think about it, you could define a challenge as a process that's difficult to get control over due to a lack of key information, right? Example, what foes are we likely to encounter when exploring this domain? How many hostile encounters are likely to occur? And what available countermeasures can we use? Take the time to thoroughly consider all these questions, then you'll find that reaching your goal is no longer a challenge at all.
Hey, are you sure you can keep going? Maybe we should take things a bit more slowly?
It's nothing serious. If I let every little setback stop me, I'd never have made it this far. This place is truly perilous. Do you have any injuries or concerning symptoms you'd like to tell me about? Yes, I know you're very skilled. But just because you're not black and blue doesn't mean everything is okay. If you're not careful, fatigue will accumulate over time and catch you unawares. You must remember to stretch to relieve tension and ensure good circulation of your chi.
Or to put it bluntly, he's worried about you. So just lie down and let us give you a quick checkup.
There are a surprising number of books here. I can't help but wonder if there are any ancient prescriptions or medical texts.
Sorry to disappoint, but I already took a look. They're pretty much all children's books.
Is that so? Well, some fairy tales may still have therapeutic benefits in treating mood-related disorders.
So many books. Let's see here. Ha! Get a load of this one. This story is about a mercenary whose only skill is that he's an exceptional liar. He goes and gets himself hired by 3 different employers, all of which are mutual enemies. And so, he's forced to spin ever more ludicrous lies to keep himself alive and keep the morrow rolling in. You know what? I'll read on. This looks pretty fun.
Want to get some shut-eye and rest for a bit? I'll keep you company. Or, if you're not sleepy, how about we chat for a bit? Maybe I could tell you a story. Oh, sorry. Am I talking too much? I just get so excited when I'm in a new place. I want to see everything there is to see. I've always got the energy to explore. Woo! You sure don't need to worry about me getting bored here. I am spoiled for choice with all these books. I hardly know where to start. I want to memorize all the interesting parts so I can go back and tell them to my friends. Oh, right. That's another thing I meant to ask. Which of these books do you recommend? I want to know what kind of stories you're into.
Only a handful of my more experimental dishes have made it onto the Wanmin restaurant menu. In most cases, it's because I think the texture isn't quite right, or the flavor needs a lot more work. But that doesn't mean I'm about to give up. I know there are tasty dishes out there waiting to be discovered, and I'll find them sooner or later. Are you tired? I know a trick that works great. Imagine all the enemies you're facing as delicious ingredients. With all that tender, delicious-smelling food nearby, doesn't it just give you a big burst of energy? Huh? Hard to imagine. Maybe it's just me then.
Okay, you're gonna laugh at me for this, but whatever. Every time I open a book, I doze off in under 10 minutes, without fail. But wushu dancing, on the other hand, I can happily practice away all night long and still be bouncing off the walls in the morning as I get ready to head out for dim sum. Wait, what if I were to read a book while performing a wushu dance? It sounds like a plan, right? This place is no joke, man. Those are some hardcore fighters out there. But I know you got this. Sure, they might get a lucky shot in here or there, but it's only ever a matter of time before you're wiping the floor with them. Hey, how about you go easy on him next round? It'll give me a chance to use my kung fu on him. I always make sure to eat a proper meal and get a good night's sleep before an escort job. You gotta make sure you're in top condition for when you hit the road. Even Manzai knows that. He always eats a little extra before we set off. So, you know, there's no rush. Let's slow down, drink some tea, then take it from there.
What exactly lies in the deepest part of this domain? I actually have quite a few theories already. But given all the monsters we keep finding, it looks like we have a tough road ahead before we can confirm the facts. Still, it'll all be worth it as long as we find the answer in the end. At least, that's what I think. I wonder whether this potion I made has any potential combat applications. Oh, don't worry. I understand that this isn't an appropriate location to conduct those kinds of experiments. It's too risky, and might do more harm than good if something went wrong. It's just hard to switch off and rest when all these hypotheses are swirling around in my brain.
I'm sure Fremine would love this book collection.
He's someone who really sees the truth in fairy tales and believes in the world of childhood wonder they're set in. I do understand the way he thinks, but... the fairy tale of childhood is nothing but a distant memory to me now. 2 questions. Have you got a moment? And if so, would you like to see a magic trick? Consider it a rehearsal, or simply a little light entertainment to lift the mood. Which deck of cards shall I go with? Ah, yes, this one suits the occasion.
A short break with a cup of tea is the best way to wash away all your fatigue. My teacup is hidden just behind this card. You're staring. Are you trying to say you want some tea too? It seems like stories are highly valued here, right? From what I remember, most stories are just a bunch of lies made up by adults. I still made sure to listen along, all beady-eyed when someone was telling a story, though. Apparently, kids who are too smart get on people's nerves. Looks like delving into this domain is gonna be challenging. As a magician's assistant, what I'm good at is executing a specific plan. And trying not to make any mistakes in the process. So, do you have a plan in place for showtime?
Traveler from another world, you have the princess's permission to enjoy a brief moment of peace. But be ready, for once I have peered into this dark dominion and beheld the treachery within. I shall rain down thundering retribution upon this place. And when the curtain of doom falls, thou shalt give it thy full, undivided attention. Those who lurk within this place are but lowly pawns, the last remnants of the usurper's army. By the time the Princessin of Ertelung stands before them, my bolts of downfall will have long since severed their ties with the forces of fate. My subjects will surely sing their songs of praise, but to the Princessin, this is but one more triumph to add to the annals.
I've always thought of books as one of the great inventions. Once a law is written down and compiled into a legal codex, it no longer exists only in the words spoken by the lawmaker. It has its own independent existence. Only then does the ability to exercise true judgment arise, because all people must be judged equally, even the lawmakers themselves. There are a lot of storybooks here, but make sure to return them to the shelves after you've finished reading them. And whatever you do, never leave a book on top of a dinner plate. Why, you ask? Well, for the simple reason that it just won't go down well.
These monsters are stronger all the time. Probably 'cause I'm on the team, I bet. But the good news is, as the leader of Benny's adventure team, I've learned a lot about how to draw monsters' attention. I'll lure them out, and once they charge at me, you guys wait for the right moment to take them all down.
Instincts say that this is a safe spot. Not the slightest whiff of lies or conspiracies. Although, to be honest, I wouldn't be averse to a little more atmosphere here. Lightning flashing outside the windows or a blizzard howling away. We could turn the lights off and tell some ghost stories. Well, we don't always get what we want in life. So instead, pull up a chair and let's get some rest. The way I see it, the use of force to subdue one's foes should always be a last resort. With enough careful planning and preparation, you can set things up so that by the time you have to confront your enemy, they fall to pieces in your hands. Saves a lot of time that way. Unfortunately, the tables are turned on us here. We're the challengers, and the one pulling the strings is hiding out of our reach.
Teacher, tell me stories from books before. Stories do not have smell. Cannot guess the ending. run for a long time. Tired. This place, safe. Good spot to rest. Here, no meat. A pity.
A mission? Give me 10 more minutes. Just 10 more. So quiet and cozy. This is a really great place to catch up on sleep. Oh, yeah. Please don't tell Lady Gucci I'm here. If she finds out, I'm toast. If there are no more battles today, can I chill out here a little longer?
You know how merchants in a hurry sometimes dangle a little food in front of their sumpter beast's face, right? To get them to move faster? I think people are the same way. Give them a little hope, and they can achieve a whole lot more. Take their hope away, and they never seem to succeed. So, I'll explore this place with you to the end. Let's never stop hoping for victory. We're free agents now, right? Great. Well, I think I'll stick around here for a bit. You want to join me? Actually, this is a pretty nice place. If I brought some of my people here, I'm sure the kids would enjoy playing hide and seek. Yeah, there must be quite a story behind this place. It's so vast and mysterious.
There's some pretty tough cookies lurking around in here, huh? Still, nothing to be scared of. If you're out on stormy seas and a giant wave is coming towards you, you only put yourself at risk of capsizing if you try to steer around it. But if you face it head on and take it on the bow, you can split that wave down the middle. I'm used to taking the helm when the storms come, so when we head into battle, feel free to put me up front. There's a lot of stories about me floating around in Liyue, but I guess the most well-known is the one about me defeating Haishan. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I went into that fight with a huge ego. I thought I'd seen it all and wanted to show people that I could take on the world. Little did I know it would very nearly cost me my life. Ultimately, I still dealt the final blow. But in the end, what got me through it wasn't my arrogant desire to prove myself. It was the fact that I had a whole crew behind me that I cared about a lot.